What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Lingo Sports. We're still talking UFC 249, and one of the bigger moments of the night was a legend going down into the Hall of Fame, being inducted into the Hall of Fame, George St-Pierre, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, MMA fighter of all time. I think we can kind of agree on that. Maybe yes, no, maybe I don't know. I see a little bit of smiles here and there, but
I agree.
We can talk about his legacy in a bit, but I want to talk about the idea of him going into the Hall of Fame. Does this mean that this is the last we're seeing of GSP?
I am pretty confident it is. A while ago when he first retired, I was not confident at all. And I think he was actually still angling for a Nurmagomedov or a Conor McGregor fight. GSP is a very incredibly competitive person, even though you wouldn't really know that by just simply hearing him speak. Sometimes you think he's like this very humble guy. He's probably one of the most competitive human beings of all time, and that's why he is the best of all time. There's really no debate for me at all, especially, to the fact that John Jones is using steroids like it's going out of style. Same with Anderson Silva. But George St-Pierre's by far the most well-rounded guy out there. I mean, he is the most well-rounded fighter. He made that a thing. And people start to think like, oh, everybody's going to be like that. No one has ever been as well-rounded as George St-Pierre. No one has ever been able to fight in the clinch, stand up on the ground as well as he has in as many diverse ways as he can. Mentally, he's probably the smartest fighter. He's also incredibly athletic. The way he's come back from injuries. I mean, say what you want about Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping's an amazing fighter. He was a champion for a reason, especially in that late run. He looked better than he ever had, maybe physically. He was
and with one eye.
But either way, he was still a great fighter. And then he came back after a second ACL tear and beat him, and at a weight class he had never fought before. Whether or not I don't think the title shot's very legitimate, I think he beat him, and that certainly was legitimate. And overall, I mean, just like me and Ronald were talking about it, Ronald, who edits some of our videos at Lingo Sports, we were saying, like, literally no one has ever gone out and gotten Olympic wrestling training, Freddie Roach training him, Phil Nurse training him, Greg Jackson training him, Faraz Zahapi. I mean, like, he had all these great coaches, but he utilizes them. No one utilizes coaches like that in MMA, and a lot of guys have had resources to do it. He's the one who did it, and he's the one who's gotten the most reward out of it.
No, I definitely think that he's deserving of the award, and I definitely do not think that he's going to be returning anytime soon. Like Jeff was saying, he's only been looking for those big fights. He's only been looking for the fights that give him the most stock, as he says, and he's not going to really come back for anything other than a big title shot, or let's say like a McGregor fight. Now, the thing is that if he wins, that's the biggest drawback for the UFC, because he's probably going to relinquish the title or whatever the position is. Yeah. So there's no really benefit in it for the UFC. So I don't see him coming back. Okay,
fair enough. If I had to ask you guys what is your favorite GSP moment from his entire career, pick one. Whichever one of you guys wants to go first, go for it.
I mean, GSP is pretty much the reason why I love MMA so much. It's the reason why I became a fighter. He's inspired me a lot more, though, than just fighting. Like, a lot of ways, just as a human being, because he was pretty much, I would say, the main role model I looked up to in terms of how to carry yourself, how to prepare for anything in life. He's really, like, he taught me a lot. So there's so many memories. I would say, man, it's tough, but
I feel like a lot of Canadians feel that way, by the way. Especially
I 100% agree.
Well, MMA in Canada pretty much died when he retired, right? Like the want to be an MMA fighter, I think, died a little bit. The fandom of MMA died a little bit. I remember bars were packed. Bars were watching UFC everywhere you went.
Yeah, I remember.
And now it's not really a thing anymore. But I would say I would either go with the Michael Bisping one, just the way he came back from adversity. The Carlos Condit one's a great one too. I think, you know what, going back and just thinking of how I felt at the time, BJ Penn, or actually I'd say Thiago Alves, scared the shit out of me. He scared me so bad. Like I every time someone would punch George back in the day, I would flinch. I would get scared, and that nobody scared me more than Thiago Alves. So that win, the way he overcame the pulled groin, and Greg Jackson tell him in the corner, hit him with your groin. I think that's it's probably my favorite moment of his.
Okay, I would say my favorite moment was definitely the Michael Bisping fight. I felt like going up in the upper weight class, and the thing is that GSP, he was already at his peak weight when he was at 170, so he had to really fight himself to gain that weight up to 185. Seeing him deal with that, and coming off of, I think it was like a 4.5-year layoff, and going straight into a title fight with Michael Bisping, who's been active, who's won the championship, going against top-level fighters, and just coming in and the biggest thing was he finished the fight. He was known as a person that didn't really finish as much in his last couple fights. Yeah. He came in, he was coming in with that right hook, and he took it to the ground and he finished him. That was one thing I felt like he silenced all his doubters, and then he left it perfectly too. Like, he didn't beat those fighters that took like a year and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm leaving the belt, I'm done. He went within 3 weeks, he's like, yeah, I'm done with this belt. Like, he didn't keep the whole division in a state of slowing down. He let them go. He's like, these people deserve to fight and fight for the title. I like that.
I love that, man. I love both of your stories because it's so I guess personal to you, right? I think GSP in general has been a role model for a lot of us because of the fact that we're Canadian and that, we're all kind of linked to the world of sports. Obviously, both of you guys love the UFC and MMA. And for a lot of people, George St-Pierre was the link to that. He created a pathway for Canadian people to enjoy the sport. I mean, just watching the video of 50,000 people packed in the Sky Dome or Rogers Center, whatever you want to call it, to watch GSP fight. It's really one of the most incredible things you could possibly see Canada-wise. So I thought that was really cool. One of the other cool moments in the night was the fight of Francis Ngannou and Rozenstruik, because, man, I was looking forward to that fight a lot. It seemed like two massive beasts of human beings who you would be afraid to walk beside. So I wanted to ask you, the knockout in general. I'm giving that knockout of the night. I know Jeff already gave knockout of the night to, I believe, did you give it to Cater, right?
Yeah.
Man, what did you guys think of the knockout, man?
I think that this was definitely the knockout of the night. I don't think Cater was. I think that this was knockout of the night, definitely, because this guy threw, I think, 4 or 5 punches. Not one of them landed except for the last one, and the last one was the one that was the least powerful, and he knocked him the hell out. Yo, this guy was barely even hitting him, going like this.
Yeah.
This guy was
The craziest
out.
part was, man, he just left his chin out there, too. He didn't care if he got hit back. He was just going for it.
Yeah, he doesn't care because one of his punches is 20 of your punches. It doesn't matter.
Jeff, okay. What'd you think of it?
It was almost like Ngannou kind of had flashbacks in the first couple of seconds of that fight of the Derek Lewis one, thinking, oh, I don't want that one to happen. We don't want a boring-ass fight again. Mm-hmm. So he just came out and just started swanging and banging at him, and sure enough, he snatched his soul. I mean, you know what? I'm just going to say this. I said a lot on Twitter as well, and you know what? I like Francis Ngannou. Seems like a great guy. I love for him to be my neighbor. I love for him to be my best friend. He seems like an awesome dude and everything.
Oh, my God.
He's proven absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Are you kidding me?
His loss to Stipe Miocic.
I know Coop disagrees.
Bro, are you out of your mind? Who is
what
he? You know who he's beat?
He's knocked people up before, Coop.
Yeah, but he's facing all the adversity. He's facing wrestlers and every single person that you would think would be him.
20 seconds, Coop. There's no adversity.
That is the adversity. He knocked them out.
Okay, wait. So
he knocked out Curtis Blades after Curtis Blades was on the high. He's a wrestler, right? He knocked out Cain Velasquez, who's one of the best wrestlers. This guy knocked him out just like that. Took his knees and put him to WWE.
Coop. He didn't face any adversity. He's shown us nothing. If he faces Stipe Miocic again, he's getting worked. For 5 rounds again. I
can't hear him at all.
I promise you will get worked 5 rounds again.
Well, listen, I think one of the more entertaining fights of the night, to say the least, boys. Let's put it at that. Okay, let's keep it at that. We'll settle it. UFC 249 for me especially was a lot of fun to watch because I was watching the other stuff. You know how empty the crowd, obviously no crowd. How the fighters were dealing with it. How they would walk in with the music, how it was like this echo in the stadium when it was an eerie feeling to have. And for a fighter to step up in that certain circumstance and compete, fight, and win is deserving of all of the respect in the world.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for listening to Lingo Sports. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button for more sports videos as always, and we'll see you later. Take care.
Peace.